Hello, everyone. Once again, Harry and Meghan are at the center of swirling rumors, and if there's even a hint of truth to these claims, it could be one of the boldest moves we've seen in recent royal drama. The latest buzz? The pair has reportedly made a surprising property purchase in Portugal, but calling it a purchase might be stretching it. Here's the kicker: Harry's name doesn't seem to be on the deed. That's right, the entire property could be solely under Meghan's control, tucked away in a trust far removed from Harry's reach. Is this a mere coincidence, or could it be a calculated move, a backup plan for Meghan if she ever decides to change the narrative of their royal fairy tale? It's hard not to wonder why Harry would agree to invest in a property where he doesn't hold a clear stake. Could this be Meghan's way of ensuring she's protected if things take a turn? It's a curious situation, and one that raises more questions than answers. It's hard to miss the picture unfolding here: a gradual drift, asset by asset, drawing Harry further from his family legacy. With Meghan seemingly positioned as the sole beneficiary, Harry might end up in a tough spot if the fairy tale cracks. Adding to the speculation are whispers about their financial dealings, including troubling claims of charity funds possibly being redirected for personal indulgences. If true, this could push the spotlight-loving duo into an entirely new realm where charitable causes serve more as a facade than genuine efforts to give back. Let's not forget the $6 million from the ArcUL Foundation that mysteriously disappeared, sparking widespread curiosity and raising eyebrows. The idea that they might be funding their lavish lifestyle at least partly through the generosity of well-meaning donors is unsettling. It could mark a new low, even by the unpredictable standards of royal exiles. They present themselves as modern humanitarians, but if the rumors hold any weight, it's hard not to see them as opportunists wrapped in luxury, masking extravagance as charity. Then there's their intriguing choice of Portugal. For a pair who famously left the UK to escape royal traditions, they seem remarkably skilled at keeping that royal charm alive, just in more exotic settings. Portugal, with its appealing golden visas, stunning coastlines, and favorable tax benefits, offers a picture-perfect backdrop. Some might even call it the ideal base for a couple constantly reinventing themselves, shifting identities, and crafting new narratives as effortlessly as they change wardrobes. Meghan's drive appears unstoppable as she builds a kingdom of her own far from Britain's palaces and protocols, yet close enough to keep the allure of royal intrigue firmly intact. At the heart of this grand venture is a carefully orchestrated balancing act, blending ambition, reinvention, and just a hint of regal mystique. The British royals, intentionally or not, seem to find themselves drawn into this unfolding saga. Take Princess Eugenie and Jack Brooksbank, who have quietly carved out a life for themselves in Portugal, far from the public eye. Yet, they're now uncomfortably close to Harry and Meghan's latest chapter, with whispers suggesting Meghan sees them as potential allies in exile. It's almost amusing to watch the lengths Harry and Meghan go to maintain an image of relevance, all while sidestepping the responsibilities and traditions that define royalty. And then there's Harry, a figure once celebrated as the lively, adventurous prince who carried the spirit of Diana. Now, he seems reduced to a supporting role in Meghan's carefully crafted narrative, his once bright legacy fading into the background. Caught in an endless cycle of rebranding, PR stunts, and controversy, Harry appears less like the vibrant prince of old and more like a pawn in the ever-expanding Meghan show. It's a stark contrast to the legacy he once embodied, now at risk of being overshadowed by a storyline not entirely his own. It's hard not to wonder how Diana, whose legacy is cherished worldwide, would feel about this. Her beloved son, once raised to be an independent and compassionate man, now seems caught up in a fame-driven spectacle. When news broke that Harry's name wasn't on the property deeds for the house in Portugal, it raised plenty of eyebrows. Could this be part of Meghan's bigger plan to secure control while leaving Harry with little to fall back on? From a financial perspective, it's perplexing. Why would Harry, whose family reportedly contributed to the purchase, not have any claim to the property? Unless, of course, it's a calculated move to ensure Meghan always holds the upper hand. It almost seems as though she's safeguarding herself in case things unravel. What better way to prepare than by keeping everything in her name, leaving Harry vulnerable if their relationship hits a rocky patch? If this were to end badly, what leverage would Harry have? It's easy to imagine him left out in the cold while Meghan continues her carefully crafted Princess of the People persona. The whole situation makes you wonder, how does this story end, and at what cost to Harry's legacy? It's hard not to feel a bit sorry for Harry. Then there's the financial angle, which only deepens the concerns. Rumors have surfaced that charity funds may have been redirected into personal projects, including the purchase of this property. If true, it would be a shocking betrayal of those who donated in good faith to support meaningful causes. Using charity money for a multi-million-dollar home or extravagant vacation sounds more like the actions of the corrupt than of people claiming to be champions of change. At best, it hints at poor financial management. At worst, it suggests outright fraud. And let's not forget the $6 million reportedly missing from the Arcueil Fund. Where did it go? No one seems to know, but what's obvious is that their lavish lifestyle may be built, at least partly, on the generosity of others. Now, back to Portugal. Sure, it's a stunning country, but it's an odd choice for a couple that claims to prioritize philanthropy and making a difference. The move raises more questions than answers, leaving a cloud of suspicion over their true intentions. Looking closer, it feels like Meghan is still chasing her dream of being a princess, just on a smaller scale. She's traded royal palaces for a home in Portugal and global political influence for securing a golden visa. If anything highlights her preference for the perks of wealth and fame over genuine change, this might be it. Adding to the curiosity, Eugenie and Jack already have their own place in Portugal, and now it seems Meghan is angling to make them her close companions in exile. The whole thing borders on comical, like two teenagers playing dress up, except the wardrobe costs millions, and the props are funded by other people's generosity. Meanwhile, Harry appears as lost as ever, seemingly unaware of the schemes unfolding around him. He comes across more like a puppet, with Meghan firmly pulling the strings. The contrast between the grand ambitions they project and the reality of their actions couldn't be more striking. By the time Harry realizes what's happening, Meghan may already have it all: the house, the headlines, and most importantly, the bank accounts. It begs the question, what would Princess Diana think of all this? Her son, once a promising royal with a bright future, now appears to be a pawn in a former actress's relentless quest for the spotlight. It's heartbreaking to imagine what Diana might say if she saw Harry today. A proud prince, once deeply connected to his family's legacy, now tethered to someone who seems to orchestrate her life to remain at the center of attention. It's hard not to feel a twinge of sadness for him. The signs are clear: Meghan's future appears well planned and secure, while Harry's path seems increasingly uncertain. Where he goes from here is anyone's guess. Let's pause for a moment and consider the possibility that maybe, just maybe, the entire situation has been misinterpreted. Perhaps Meghan truly has Harry's best interests at heart. Maybe all of this is one big misunderstanding, and they really are united team partners in every sense of the word. But then again, who genuinely believes that? It's hard to reconcile the idea of someone who has built an empire by leveraging their connection to Harry and portraying themselves as a global humanitarian suddenly adopting a sincere sense of altruism. Stranger things have happened, sure, but not often. What's most unsettling in all of this is how Meghan and Harry have completely transformed their identities. The days of being active members of the royal family are long gone. Now they're global celebrities, gracing magazine covers, landing multi-million-dollar streaming deals, and attending elite events. All this while doing little for the causes they claim to support. The contrast between their image and their actions raises more questions than it answers. If you take a closer look, it's clear that they've become little more than high-end socialites, leveraging their titles and royal connections to build a brand that sells the idea of change while living a lifestyle most can only dream about. The hypocrisy is almost tangible, thick enough to cut with a knife. Despite growing public skepticism, Meghan and Harry continue to rake in millions from lucrative deals, all while portraying themselves as victims of the royal institution. Ironically, they've turned their very connection to the monarchy, the one they publicly rejected, into their most powerful marketing tool. They claim to be cutting ties with royal life, but their actions tell a different story. Every step they take screams a desire to stay in the spotlight, to be as famous as possible, all while sidestepping the duties and responsibilities that come with the titles they still benefit from. Take a closer look at their various ventures, from Netflix specials to lucrative speaking gigs, and it's clear they've mastered the art of profiting from controversy. Their entire brand seems to revolve around keeping the drama alive. Every interview, public appearance, and social media post looks carefully planned to keep the spotlight on them. While the rest of us watch in disbelief, wondering how far they'll go, they continue to cash in. It's almost as if the more criticism they face, the more money they make. Harry and Meghan have clearly figured out how to work the media, but what's concerning is that they're not just riding the wave of controversy, they're thriving off it. They seem to be actively creating controversy, whether it's through questionable real estate purchases, bizarre public appearances, or inflammatory comments about their former family members. It's as if they're determined to stay in the headlines at all costs. What's even more unsettling is that their fans cheer them on every time they make a misstep. Supporters rush to defend them, treating it like part of a larger grand narrative they're playing out. And then there's the glaring issue: money. Harry's personal fortune, bolstered by an inheritance from the Queen Mother, was a sum most could only dream of. Yet, it didn't take long for that fortune to likely become part of Meghan's grand plans. You can almost picture her waiting eagerly for it to arrive, ready to weave it into her web of shared investments, joint dreams, and a future she's carefully building, one where every penny becomes a part of her vision for success. What's truly baffling is how Harry seems to dive headfirst into this situation without questioning anything, as if he's completely blind to the glaring red flags all around him. Time and again, Meghan's intentions have been crystal clear. Her moves appear calculated to extract every last benefit from him in a partnership that grows more one-sided by the day. Yet Harry continues forward, acting as though his role as the idealistic, hopelessly devoted spouse is somehow noble. Maybe he's drawn to the thrill of playing the role of the liberated prince or the desire to prove his independence. But what looks like independence is starting to feel more like exploitation. Then there's the issue of ownership. For two people who've made a big deal about breaking free from royal traditions, you'd think they'd have a few more properties to their name by now. Yet despite all their talk of freedom and self-sufficiency, they remain strangely dependent on external assets. It's as if their narrative of breaking away and standing on their own is more smoke and mirrors than real substance. Look at the pattern: instead of acquiring assets that would signify their new life, they've done just enough to keep up the appearance of independence. Rather than building a solid financial foundation, Harry seems to be handing over control of his future without considering the consequences. And here's the irony: Meghan, once the self-made actress whose identity was built on hard work, now finds herself wrapped up in Harry's wealth, almost as if she had been preparing for this role all along. She's become an expert at using connections and shaping herself to fit whatever image is needed. Now, as she comfortably settles into the role of a royal figure, albeit a bit tattered around the edges, it's hard to ignore how Harry has become a convenient stepping stone in her ongoing story. Poor Harry, oblivious to his role in this grand act. He's not just a husband, he's become a pawn. What's even more troubling is how casually he's embraced this role, almost recklessly. Harry has tied his life and fortune to someone whose loyalty seems to shift depending on her interests. It's almost ironic that he once saw himself as a trailblazer for stepping away from the royal family, only to find himself entangled with someone far more skilled at using relationships as stepping stones. Is it any surprise she's become persona non grata in so many circles? The mask she wore so well in the beginning has long since slipped, revealing a hunger that can no longer be ignored. Now, with her ambitions laid bare, she finds herself with fewer and fewer places left to hide. Let's pause for a moment to marvel at the boldness here. Imagine being a couple that claimed they were stepping away from the royal family to dedicate themselves to making the world a better place. A mission like that typically calls for modesty, hard work, and humility, not to mention some serious media attention and endless funding. Yet, instead of settling into a simple, grounded lifestyle, they buy a luxurious house in Portugal, presenting it as though they're living the ideal humanitarian dream. In reality, it seems more like they're enjoying a lavish lifestyle bankrolled by others. It makes you wonder if changing the world is just code for living in a mansion while pretending to care. Now, here's the real twist: the property is listed solely in Meghan's name, not Harry's. What a bombshell. Sure, Meghan has been strategically navigating things behind the scenes for years, but this move takes things to another level. Let's break it down. Harry's family reportedly helped fund this purchase, yet his name is nowhere on the deed. Doesn't that feel a bit off? Why wouldn't Harry have any legal stake in a property he supposedly co-invested in? Unless, of course, this arrangement is carefully planned for a just-in-case situation. If things go south between them, which, given their track record, isn't exactly far-fetched, this setup seems all too convenient. It's a classic Meghan move: secure everything in her name so she's in the best position if it all falls apart. Meanwhile, Harry could end up with little more than his title, which isn't exactly a golden ticket these days, but of course it doesn't stop there. The real sting comes with how this whole arrangement appears tied to charity funds. Yes, funds meant to support meaningful causes, not finance million-dollar states in Portugal. Can you imagine the audacity it takes to channel resources meant to help the needy into funding a life of luxury? It's like watching hypocrisy unfold on a grand stage where the stars live in opulence while claiming to champion the world's most vulnerable. It's like buying a mansion and spinning it as a noble cause, except the mansion is funded by money meant to genuinely help others. Talk about a shady move. Yet there they are, living extravagantly, collecting praise, and likely padding their bank accounts, all while leaning on the royal titles they once claimed to reject. Funny how those titles only seemed inconvenient when it suited them. And let's not forget the drama involving Princess Eugenie and Jack Brooksbank. This just adds another layer to the mess. Harry and Meghan managed to pull their family into their personal saga, using them as pawns in their pursuit of the so-called good life. Eugenie and Jack already own a home in Portugal, but now it looks like Meghan is determined to rope them into her new circle of exiles. It seems they're stuck playing along whether they like it or not. Meghan's desperate attempt to hold on to anything remotely royal is hard to miss. It's as if she's trying to prove she's still connected to the royal family just without the responsibilities or duties, only the benefits. It's almost tragic, but let's not feel too sorry for Harry just yet. He's an adult, after all. He knew what he was walking into, didn't he? Or was Meghan orchestrating this from the start? The question hangs in the air. Harry could have had a peaceful, respected life. Instead, he's now caught in a storm of scandals, manipulation, and constant media attention. Every move they make seems to come with some underlying scheme. And honestly, it's hard not to wonder if Harry realizes how much of a pawn he's become in all of this. As the world watches their every step, the only question that remains is what's next. What's next for this duo? Will they keep playing the victim card, spinning their rags to riches story to justify their extravagant lifestyle, or will they just keep cashing in on their endless list of sponsors while pretending to champion the causes they claim to care about? If there's one thing Meghan and Harry have mastered, it's crafting a carefully curated image. Every appearance, every interview is meticulously planned to keep them in the spotlight. But here's the catch: the spotlight is starting to dim. People are beginning to see past the facade, and it's only a matter of time before the public demands real answers. How much longer can they keep this up before the whole thing unravels? The irony is almost laughable. They still cling to their royal titles, the same ones they distanced themselves from in the name of independence. Yet every project, every deal, every public move reminds us they're still leveraging those connections to stay relevant and rake in profits. Meghan and Harry have built their entire image on the idea of rejection, turning away from royal life, but let's be honest, they rejected the responsibilities, not the perks. Who knows? Maybe they'll surprise us all with a bold move that reveals their true altruistic intentions. Or maybe they'll keep pushing their carefully crafted story until it becomes so over the top that even their most devoted supporters start to question it. If you found this deep dive as intriguing as the drama itself, make sure to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe for more insights and share your thoughts in the comments below. What's your take on Meghan and Harry's latest move? Let's keep the discussion going.